Be honest. How many personal growth videos have you watched? How many articles on habits of successful people have you saved? And yet, what does your life look like right now? Still heavy dread every time the alarm goes off. It's still the procrastination that makes you loathe yourself. It's still that silent shame that you're wasting your potential while the rest of the world seems to be racing ahead. The biggest mistake is deceiving yourself into thinking, to change, I need a revolution. That very thought is the cage that holds you prisoner. It's too massive, too much pressure. B.J. Fogg, a Stanford behavioral psychologist who has spent over 20 years studying habit formation, affirms this. You don't change your life by doing everything. You change it by doing almost nothing, but doing it strategically. Out in the ocean, if a ship shifts its rudder just 1 degree, the passengers won't feel a thing. But after a long journey, that ship will never arrive at its old destination. If you give yourself 7 days to adjust the tiniest gears in your system, the most shocking truth about life will reveal itself. Fate is actually just a habit that can be reprogrammed. Number 1. Why have you always failed before? Before we put our hands on the wheel to steer this ship of fate, you need to look back at the failed turns of the past so we don't repeat them. The abandoned journals, the dust-gathering gym memberships, and the New Year's resolutions that crumbled after just 2 weeks. Is it a lack of willpower? No, you are a warrior, because I know you have tried to change. The problem is, our ego is addicted to grand performances. It whispers in your ear that to fix this mess, you have to wake up early, you have to eat clean, you have to read, you have to exercise, everything, all at once, starting tomorrow. You call that discipline, but to the brain, that is an assault. Your brain has one mission, survival, and the most fundamental law of survival is the law of least effort. When you try to force yourself to change too much in a single day, the fear center of the brain, the amygdala, gets triggered. It perceives a threat due to the sudden drain on energy, and it will do everything to pull you back into that old comfort zone. That is why the excitement only lasts for 3 days. On day 4, your body goes on strike. You quit. You fail because you are fighting against your own biology, a mechanism that has existed for thousands of years, with the wrong strategy. James Clear, author of Atomic Habits, once distilled a truth. You do not rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. View your life as a tightly interconnected system, not a fragmented to-do list where you just cross off lines. Visualize this. When your sleep is broken, the first link snaps. Your energy the next morning plummets. When energy is low, your brain's emotional control weakens, leading you to easily lash out or make poor decisions at work. When work suffers, your self-esteem takes a hit. And when you feel terrible about yourself, you turn to old toxic habits to soothe the pain. That is the domino effect of your collapse. That cycle just continues, dragging you deeper. So, where is the way out of this chaos? Instead of trying to tear down and rebuild the entire house overnight, our strategy for the next 7 days is much smarter. We target strategic pressure points. When this pressure is released, the entire system automatically adjusts and shifts in a positive direction, without you having to white-knuckle your way through the fight. This is where the magic of micro-shifts speaks. We need to discard the all-or-nothing mindset. Professor B.J. Fogg has spent a lifetime proving this. The most sustainable changes do not come from motivation, but from ability. When you set a goal that is small, so small it is too small to fail, you strip away your brain's right to refuse. Every time you complete this tiny action, your brain releases a natural hit of dopamine. It sends a powerful signal to your subconscious. I am a person who keeps promises. I am someone who can change. This feeling is the bedrock of self-efficacy, and you need a streak of small, consecutive wins to reprogram the core beliefs inside you. So, the next 7 days are when you build a microsystem, where every action is a solid brick, laying the foundation for the new person you yearn to become. Number 2. 7 days. 7 touch points to change your fate. This is the moment we stop talking theory and start getting our hands on the specific gears of your life. Every day we will move through strategic touch points, gently stripping away the rust that is jamming the system so your biological machine can run smoothly again on its own. You don't have to believe me immediately. You just need to allow yourself to experiment. Treat this week like a rough draft, a safe space for you to learn how to treat yourself with kindness for the first time after years of neglect. And this journey of rebirth begins where you usually end a long, exhausting day, the very bedrock of your existence, yet the very first thing modern Americans sacrifice. Day 1. Reprogramming the clock of healing. Sleep, that crucial foundation, is the starting point for redirecting your life. I know what you're thinking. I know sleep is important. Tell me something new. But look at yourself this morning. How did you wake up? Alert and sharp, or sluggish like a phone that isn't fully charged? If the answer is sluggish, then every effort that follows, from dieting to the gym to working, is meaningless. Look back at last night. Were you lying in bed, lights out, but your hand was still holding the phone, mindlessly scrolling through social media? You knew you needed to sleep. You knew tomorrow morning would be a disaster, but you couldn't stop. Psychologists call this state revenge bedtime procrastination. During the day, your time belongs to your boss, your clients, your family, and social obligations. Only at night, in that quiet darkness, do you feel that time truly belongs to you. You stay awake because you crave regaining a little control over your own life. But the price is higher than you imagine. Your body obeys a sophisticated symphony known as the circadian rhythm. This is an ancient clock, preset over thousands of years of evolution, dictating when you are alert and when you recover. When you go to sleep at 11 p.m. tonight, but stay up until 2 a.m. tomorrow, then sleep in until noon on the weekend, you are creating chaos within your nervous system. Professor Matthew Walker, a renowned neuroscientist and author of the groundbreaking book, Why We Sleep, has pointed out a brutal mechanism. When your circadian rhythm is broken, the chemical balance in your brain collapses. Cortisol, the hormone of stress and alarm, does not drop at night as it should. Instead, it anchors at a high level, keeping you in a state of fight or flight, even while you are lying down to rest. Conversely, melatonin, the hormone signaling relaxation and healing, is completely suppressed by the blue light from your phone screen. What is the result? The next morning, you wake up with absolutely no freshness, only a thick brain fog. Your emotions become brittle and fragile. You are easily short-tempered with loved ones, impatient with colleagues, and you crave sugary foods to compensate with artificial energy. Your action for today. Tonight, choose a fixed bedtime, a realistic time slot you can actually commit to, for example 11 p.m., and more importantly, perform a shutdown ritual exactly 10 minutes before that time. During these 10 minutes, perform small but highly symbolic actions. Disconnect completely from electronic devices. Dim the harsh, glaring lights in the room. Brush your teeth and wash your face slowly, truly feeling the cool water touch your skin. Change into the softest pajamas you own. These actions send a message of safety straight to your anxious amygdala. Everything is okay. The outside world is closed. The day is done. You are allowed to rest. When you reset this anchor, you begin the deepest healing process from within your subconscious. When the circadian rhythm returns, the rebirth begins. No effort, no straining. Tonight, Let the healing begin. Day 2. Breaking the Law of Inertia. You have completed the first shutdown ritual. Maybe you slept a little better, or maybe not yet. That is okay. Biological healing is not an overnight fix. We have only laid the first brick, and today we will lay the second brick, the most critical one to shatter the paralysis of the morning. The moment the alarm tears through your dream is the most sensitive time of the day. That is when the internal war begins. Your body feels heavy as lead. Your eyelids are glued together, and that warm blanket suddenly becomes a safe cocoon you never want to leave. Your mind, that master con artist, starts the familiar negotiation. Just 5 more minutes. It's too cold today. I really need a little more rest. You lie there, curled up, waiting. Waiting for what? A burst of inspiration? Some divine source of motivation to swoop in, pull you up, and say, "Come on, let's conquer the world." Here is the hard truth. Nothing comes while you are lying still. Why is getting out of bed so difficult? Why does it feel so physically painful? The answer lies with Isaac Newton, who discovered the laws of motion. It governs your body just as powerfully as the falling apple. This law states, an object at rest tends to stay at rest unless acted upon by an external force. The fatigue and heaviness you feel every morning is actually physical inertia. When you sleep, your entire bodily system, from heart rate and blood pressure to temperature, drops to its lowest level. You are literally in a state of rest. Demanding your body to spring up immediately with excitement is going against the laws of physics. That is why the mindset battle in the morning usually fails. You are trying to use thought to fight physics. That is a lopsided battle where your willpower always loses. Compounding this problem is the fallacy that emotion must precede action. We think, I have to feel like it before I do it, but the brain's biomechanism operates in the exact opposite direction. Action creates emotion. William James, the father of American psychology, once said, "Really, actions and feeling go together, and by regulating the action which is under the more direct control of the will, we can indirectly regulate the feeling, which is not." So, the solution here is a guerrilla tactic. Strike fast, win fast, and use so little effort that your brain doesn't even have time to resist. Your action for today, the very moment you open your eyes, before that lazy ego can whisper a single excuse, execute a purely mechanical action. Move for 2 minutes. Anything, as long as your body is in motion. Stretch fully like a cat, just waking up, feeling the release in every muscle fiber. Step out of bed and pace around the room, or simply blast an upbeat song and bust out 10 jumping jacks right in your pajamas. When you force your muscles to contract and expand, your heart is compelled to beat faster to pump blood. Oxygen rushes to the brain, waking up dormant neurons. The sympathetic nervous system triggers, shifting your state from resting to ready. You will be stunned to see the magic unfold after just 120 short seconds. That heavy, sticky, lethargic feeling suddenly vanishes like fog burning off in the sun. And true to Newton's word, once you are in motion, you tend to stay in motion. Remember, motivation is not a lightning bolt striking from the sky. Motivation is a fire ignited by the friction of action. Do not wait to feel inspired to start. Start, and inspiration will chase after you. Tomorrow morning, don't think, just move. Day 3. Creating the anchor of mental order. You have successfully activated your biological machine through movement. The blood is pumping, and your mind is sharper. But hold on, don't rush out into the world just yet. Stop for a second, and look around where you stand. Look at your desk. Look at the pile of clothes on the chair, the mound of messy paperwork, or the dishes stacked up from last night. What do you feel? I know you'll tell yourself, it's just a little messy, I'll clean it later. But your body speaks a different language. Every time your eyes scan that clutter, a microdose of stress is injected into your nervous system. And deep down, a judgmental voice rings out. You can't even handle your own room, so how are you going to handle your life? Clutter is not just an aesthetic issue. It is a cold war against your nervous system. Your eyes are like camera lenses operating continuously, and every item out of place is a piece of data the brain must process. This needs putting away. That needs throwing out. I forgot to do that again. Hundreds of silent decisions run in the background every minute, devouring your brain's processing power before you can do anything meaningful. When you live in a battlefield of visual distraction, you will burn out. External chaos is an exact mirror of internal chaos. And conversely, the way to silence the noise in your head is to start cleaning up. But here is the trap that perfectionists often fall into. You get inspired and want to scrub the whole house in one day. You drag all the clothes out, buy dozens of storage bins, and then burn out halfway through, leaving a mess even more horrific than before. Don't do that. We don't need a total overhaul. Your action for today: choose exactly one single surface. It could be your desktop, or your nightstand, or the bathroom sink. Just one spot. Your mission is to clean it until it is spotless. Throw away unnecessary things. Wipe away the dust. Arrange what remains in straight lines, neatly. Turn it into an oasis of order amidst a desert of chaos. Why do we only do one spot? Because it adheres to the low floor rule. You can't fail when just cleaning a table. But its significance is immense. That clean surface will become your visual anchor. Every time you feel overwhelmed, anxious, or lost, fix your gaze on that surface. The emptiness, cleanliness, and order there will immediately soothe your nervous system. It is a tangible reminder that, in this chaotic world, there is still one place where I hold absolute control. The story of U.S. Navy Admiral William H. McRaven gives you the most definitive answer. In a viral commencement speech at the University of Texas, this battle-hardened commander, who had directed the world's most complex military operations, offered advice that stunned the room. If you want to change the world, start by making your bed. Admiral McRaven understood the meaning of the first victory of the day. When you finish making your bed neatly every morning, you have accomplished the first task of the day. It gives you a small sense of pride, and that pride will encourage you to do another task and another. By the end of the day, that one simple task will have turned into many tasks completed. And even if you have a miserable day out there, when you come home, you see a neat bed made by your own hands. It tells you, tomorrow will be better. Turn this act of cleaning into a sacred ritual. Let yourself become an architect, reconstructing the living space for your soul. When you wipe the dust off the table, visualize that you are wiping away the anxieties in your head. When you rearrange items, you are rearranging the priorities of your life. Don't underestimate the power of a clean table. It could be the birthplace of ideas that change your life later on. Start with the smallest thing, right now. Choose your anchor and make it shine. Day 4. The Oxytocin Dose, from a Voice. A clean room sometimes highlights a silence so loud it's deafening, and in that silence, the monster of loneliness begins to stir. There is a cruel paradox of human psychology that I want you to face right now. When life gets the hardest, when you feel the weakest and need help the most, your very first instinct is to isolate yourself. You retreat into your cave. You stop replying to texts. You watch the phone ring and feel terrified to pick it up. You scroll through the glittering Instagram stories of your friends and feel like a failure standing on the sidelines of the party. You convince yourself, I'm busy, I need some alone time, or worse, I don't want to be a burden to anyone, but let me call this exactly what it is. It is shame. You are afraid of others seeing the mess inside your soul, so you choose to lock the door. However, biologically, isolation is a state of red alert. Our ancestors only survived in tribes. Being left alone meant death. So when you disconnect from people, your brain interprets it as danger. It starts pumping stress hormones into your bloodstream uncontrollably. The lonelier you are, the more stressed you become. The more stressed you become, the more you want to hide. It is a downward spiral, sucking dry the last drops of your life force. Dr. Brené Brown, a leading researcher on vulnerability, distilled a truth that can save us from this spiral. Connection is why we're here. It is what gives purpose and meaning to our lives. Sometimes we need the light from another person to serve as a spiritual anchor for every transformation that follows. Your action for today. Your mission is to pick one person, an old friend, a relative, or anyone who once made you feel safe, and send them a voice note or make a short call, just 5 minutes. You are absolutely forbidden from texting. The content doesn't have to be about your struggles if you aren't ready. It can simply be, "I was just thinking about you. How have you been lately?" Or, "I really missed your voice. Hope you're doing well." Why do I forbid you from texting? This is the secret of emotional biochemistry. Text messages, no matter how many smiley face icons you insert, are fundamentally just cold data. When you read the words, "I'm fine," your brain has to analyze the semantics, but it cannot feel the pulse of life. In contrast, the voice is a biological miracle. The human voice contains prosody, pitch, and subtle vibrations. When sound waves from a familiar voice touch your eardrum, they directly activate the vagus nerve and signal the brain to release oxytocin. Oxytocin is often called the love hormone, but I want you to understand it in a more scientific way. It is the hormone of safety. When oxytocin is released, it acts as a powerful antidote to cortisol. It slows your racing heart, it lowers blood pressure, and soothes anxiety. Most importantly, it sends a primal message to your subconscious. You are not alone. You belong to a tribe. You are protected. That is why a text saying "hang in there" might leave you feeling indifferent, but hearing your mother's voice ask, "How are you?" can make you burst into tears. Those tears are the release of a nervous system that has been bracing itself for too long in solitude. Don't let technology fool you into thinking we are connected. Scrolling through Facebook is not a connection. Liking posts is not a connection. That is just surface interaction. True connection requires presence, and the voice is the most authentic form of presence we can offer each other from a distance. Overcome that initial fear. The awkwardness of pressing the record button only lasts a few seconds, but its healing effect can last all day. Send out your voice, and more importantly, allow yourself to hear the voice of another human being. You are a cell in the colossal body of humanity. A detached cell is a dead cell. Reconnect to the source of life. Day 5. Stop poisoning the temple of your soul. Now that your emotions have been soothed, we need to face another naked truth. You cannot build a clear mind inside a toxic body. Your soul may be craving to soar, but its wings are being dragged down by what you put into your stomach every day. Look back at what you ate this past week. What percentage of that was actually food, and what percentage was edible industrial products, the crispy snacks, the colorful sodas, or the greasy fast food you hurriedly swallowed between stressful work hours? We often make excuses that we eat because we're busy, or to treat ourselves to a little joy, our comfort food. But listen to your body after those meals. An energy crash, sudden drowsiness, heaviness in the gut, and worst of all, the guilt creeping into your mind. The ultra-processed food industry is not in the business of nutrition, it is in the business of addiction. Those meals are designed in labs by top flavor engineers with the ultimate goal of creating the bliss point, a perfect combination of sugar, salt, and fat that makes your brain explode with dopamine but never feel satisfied. They are created to hack your hunger signals, disrupting the communication between your gut and brain, leaving you constantly hungry despite consuming thousands of empty calories. You are trying to steer the ship of your life through a storm, yet you are pouring ditch water and sand into the fuel tank instead of gasoline. How can the engine run smoothly? How can the mind be sharp when your neurons are inflamed by preservatives and artificial dyes? It is time to stop this sweet poisoning, not with a harsh diet for weight loss, because that pressure only makes you crave food more, but with a shift in consciousness regarding the sacredness of your body. Your action. For today, for the next 24 hours, I want you to make a simple but radical commitment. Eat only real food. The rule of thumb is simple. If it has a laundry list of ingredients with chemical names you can't pronounce, don't eat it. If it is advertised on TV, don't eat it. Eat what Mother Nature or God created. A crisp apple, a fresh cut of meat, a bunch of greens, an egg, a handful of nuts. Eat as our ancestors ate, before industrial food plants existed. Cook simply, season with natural spices, drink water instead of soda. Remember, your body is a temple. Whether you are a Christian or a modern spiritual practitioner, all philosophies meet at this one point. This physical body is the only sacred dwelling place for your soul in this lifetime. Why would you pollute the sanctuary of your soul with chemicals from a toxic industry, with artery-clogging trans fats, and with chemical sugars that ravage your cells? Every time you do that, you aren't just ruining your health, you are desecrating the life force present within you. Jim Rohn, a businessman and a master philosopher of life, once said something profound: take care of your body. It's the only place you have to live. When you choose to eat a clean, whole meal today, do not think you are dieting or suffering. Shift your mindset and realize deeply that you are performing an act of reverence. Day 6. Shedding the invisible burden of the subconscious. Imagine you are wearing an invisible backpack. Every day that passes, every time you say, "I'll deal with it tomorrow," "This is too complicated, I'll do it later," or "I need to reply to this email, but I don't feel like it," is another time you pick up a rock and drop it into that pack. An unanswered email, a pebble, a missing button you haven't sewn back on, a piece of gravel, the flickering hallway light you haven't changed, a brick, the dentist appointment you've been putting off for 3 months, a boulder. You think that if you ignore them, they will disappear. Wrong. That is the sweetest lie your brain uses to lull you to sleep. In behavioral psychology, there is a famous phenomenon known as the Zeigarnik Effect. Scientists have proven that the human brain has a mechanism of compulsive memory for unfinished tasks. It is like a computer running dozens of programs in the background at once. Even though you don't see them on the screen, they are silently devouring RAM and draining the system's battery. Every open loop is a background process like that. You think you've forgotten it, but your subconscious hasn't. It still has to spend energy to hold that task in standby mode. That is a contributing reason why you often feel mental fatigue, even if you haven't done anything physically heavy all day. You don't need to clear the entire backpack this week. We just need to do one thing: take out one rock and throw it away. Your action. For today, I want you to scan your mind right now or look around the room you are sitting in. Find one tiny thing you have been putting off for too long. A task that every time you think about it, you feel a little twinge of discomfort or guilt. It could be that apology email to a friend you haven't dared to send. It could be a call to schedule car maintenance. It could be sewing a button, gluing a shoe sole, or simply returning a book borrowed 3 months ago. Pick it and get it done. Immediately. Right now. Don't think, don't plan. Just stand up and execute. Why is this tiny action so important? The moment you finish that task, a biological miracle will happen. You will feel a rush of fresh energy flood your mind, just like when you close all the frozen browser tabs. That is liberated energy. The amount of energy the brain used to worry about that task is now set free to serve your creativity and joy of living. Psychologist William James once said, "Nothing is so fatiguing as the eternal hanging on of an uncompleted task. When you finish, you sever that drag." But more important than the relief is the resetting of self-efficacy. When you look at the button sewn back on or the email marked sent, your brain registers a victory. It tells itself, "I can do it. I am someone who finishes what I start." This brick of belief is extremely important. It is the foundation for you to dare to take on bigger challenges in the future. Don't underestimate the power of closing loops. A great life is built on the foundation of small things completed thoroughly. Choose your rock, put it down, and feel your shoulders lighten, ready to soar. Day 7. The Awakening, according to Carl Jung. Who looks outside, dreams. Who looks inside, awakes. Carl Jung. This immortal quote from Carl Jung is not just an empty piece of philosophy for social media. It is a sharp wake-up call for our generation, the extroverted addicts. Look at how we live every day. When you feel sad, what do? You go online to watch movies or scroll through TikTok. When you feel stuck, what do? You Google how to succeed fast. When you feel lonely, what do? You text someone or immerse yourself in social media, seeking a virtual connection. We are living in a culture that is overdosing on information but starving for wisdom. Your modern mind is under constant assault from external stimuli. Every phone notification, every sensational news headline, every 15-second video is a hit of cheap dopamine designed to keep you in a state of dreaming, a collective dream where you forget your own reality. You fear silence. You fear the moments when there is nothing to do, because in that silence, the true voices within, the unhealed pains, the buried desires, and even the shadow that Jung spoke of, will begin to speak. We flee from ourselves by rushing outward, but as Jung said, that is just a long dream. It is time to wake up. On this final day of your life redirection journey, we are not going to do anything more. We are going to do absolutely nothing in a radical way. This may be the most difficult challenge of the past 7 days because it forces you to face the most familiar stranger, yourself, your action. For today, I want you to set aside exactly 2 hours to disconnect completely. No phone, turn it off or leave it at home. No internet, no books or newspapers, no music. No external distractions of any kind, just you and your thoughts. You can sit still in your room. You can take a walk alone in the park. You can bring a notebook and a pen, but you must not consume any information from the outside world. In the first 20 minutes, I warn you, you will feel extremely uncomfortable. Your nervous system, accustomed to being spoon-fed constant dopamine, will start screaming for stimulation. You will feel restless, your hands itching to grab your phone. Anxious thoughts will flood in. I'm wasting my time. What if someone calls? Do not fight them. Observe them like dark clouds passing through the sky. Be as patient as a mother sitting beside a sulking child. Why must we do this extreme thing? Because your mind, until now, has been like a glass of water murky with mud. All day long, constant activities stir that glass, making it impossible to see the bottom. This 2-hour silence is the moment when the dust of life finally settles. The mud will sink to the bottom, and the water will become crystal clear. That is when the magic of stillness appears, when the external noise dies down, The voice of intuition and the true self will emerge. In that silence, look back at the past 6 days. How did it feel when your sleep was nurtured? What did your body say when it was fed pure food? How did that clean room change your mood? What did the relief of closing those open loops mean to you? You will realize a shocking truth. You don't need to become someone else to be happy. You don't need to add flashy titles to your life to feel whole. Everything you need, strength, peace, wisdom, is already within you. It has simply been buried under the dust of distraction. This silence is when you connect the dots. You will see the path ahead emerge through a deep inner knowing. You will know exactly what to do next. You will know what is truly important and what is right to let go. Awakening is not about seeing halos or levitating in the air. Awakening, according to Jung, is returning to yourself. It is the moment you realize you are not those chaotic thoughts. You are the one observing them. The final message I want to send you today: you cannot find the answer in the noise. The answer always lies in the silence. Turn off your phone. The world out there will keep spinning without you for 2 hours, but your inner world will collapse if you continue to abandon it. Make time for the most important appointment of your life, an appointment with your own soul. And when you step out of those 2 hours of silence, you will no longer be the person from 7 days ago. You have changed your trajectory. You have awakened. Number 3, the transformation gap. Before closing this 7-day journey, I must warn you about one final trap, the most dangerous one that causes 99% of people to quit right at heaven's gates. It is the illusion of instant results. Imagine you've just finished these 7 days of resetting. You're sleeping well, eating clean, decluttering, and connecting. You feel better, surely. But when you step outside on day 8, the world seems the same. Your boss is still difficult. Your bank account hasn't added any zeros, and the massive problems of life haven't fully vanished. And this is when the voice of doubt in your head rises up. See? It's useless. You're still standing in the same spot. Don't believe it. Go back to the image of that ocean liner we talked about at the start. When the captain shifts the rudder just 1 degree, the ship immediately changes direction in technical terms. But for those first few days, even the first few weeks, if passengers look out the window, they see nothing but the endless blue of the ocean. At the end of this 7-day journey, you are currently in the transformation gap. This is the wilderness that lies between the old you and your new fate. In this land, you haven't seen tangible results yet, but beneath the surface, the undercurrents have shifted completely. Therefore, the most important message I want you to etch into your heart right now: do not equate the silence of results with the failure of your actions. Don't expect life to move upward in a steady, straight line. Real change is like the law of the bamboo. It consolidates silently underground for a long time, only to skyrocket toward the sky in a single night. Trust the trajectory. Keep sleeping on time. Keep cleaning, and keep nourishing the temple of your body on day 8, day 9, and day 30. Because when you hold the wheel long enough through these empty seas, the moment you spot land is the moment you realize you've reached a completely different continent, one where the old version of you could never have set foot. That is not a miracle. That is the consistency of someone who has awakened. As you can see, over the last 7 days, we didn't do anything monumental. You just slept a bit more on time, tidied up a desk, made 1 phone call, ate a decent meal. But listen to what's happening inside you right now. That heaviness in your chest has started to lift. A spark of control has returned. You are no longer a victim drifting with the circumstances. You are at the wheel. This change is like a small snowball rolling down a hill. At first, it's tiny, but with every rotation, every day you repeat these acts of kindness toward yourself, it builds momentum and a colossal strength that will sweep away every barrier. Right now, leave a comment below with the smallest action you commit to doing tomorrow. Let this comment section become a manifesto for those who are awakening. If this video touched you, give it a like and share it with someone who needs a lifeline. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell, because our journey isn't over. I'll see you in the next video. A brilliant future is waiting for you.